All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Friday, Junior. Thank you all for joining us today at this month's small group demo. Today, we'll be introducing platform analytics and how you and your team can leverage this app to gain increased visibility into your utilization of the Contentstack platform. So, our hope for today is that you'll walk away with a mental model for how to think about driving organizational adoption and a great engagement across your content stack products so that you can make informed, data driven decisions based on those insights and data. And so, we'll be sure to walk through specific examples of how you can go about this. Just a quick note, as always, this small group demo will be recorded and you'll receive that recording in a follow up email. Also, feel free to submit your questions at any time during the webinar, and we'll be sure to get to those at the end. Some quick intros. My name is Austin Chen. I'm a product marketing manager here at Contentstack. Been with the company for almost 3 years, and I cover mostly our platform and front-end hosting product. I'm joined by Dean Haddock today, who is our group product manager overseeing platform and hosting. Dean, you want to quickly say hi?
Yeah, hi, I'm really glad to be here. Thanks, Austin. I think you nailed it there. I'm our product manager over the analytics app and functionality we're going to be sharing today. And I've been at Contentstack a little over 3 years now. So really glad to be on a call with all.
Awesome. So before we dive in, wanted to just quickly share our agenda for today. We'll start off by digging into what life was like before analytics, and then we'll transition over to what exactly is analytics, and then share a couple actionable use cases with y'all, and then we'll walk you through how everything would look like in a live demo that Dean will be leading, and then we'll have some time at the end for Q&A as well. So, all right, let's dive in. So some of the challenges that might exist before analytics. Let's just quickly take a look for to set the stage for our conversation. So essentially, these are like three existing challenges that you may have run into in the past, without having that centralized view for your content across the platform. So first one being that fragmented view. So as you create more stacks, entries, automations, content types, etc., in the platform, increasingly it gets harder to kind of understand the utilization and performance because of the scale of everything, and things are living in all parts of the platform, so it's fragmented in that nature. And then also the siloing of analytics. So previous analytics tools lack that visibility and breadth into the entire content management lifecycle, so that might hinder some data driven decisions and insights that you're collecting. And then the third bucket here, so third-party integration. So in the past, developers may had to rely on monitoring integrations to better understand the usage at an organizational level of the content stack products. So this, reliance on like external software or integrations like requires some sort of like maintenance and management there. So with those challenges in mind, let's quickly uncover, how analytics is poised to address some of these areas.
Thanks, Austin. Yeah, so introducing analytics here, and this is what we'll be demoing for you shortly. So if you've been around Contentstack for a while, like some of us have, we did have previously in the org administration section, which admittedly is only available to admins and org owners at this time. You'll be familiar with product analytics and mission control, which were two separate applications that we implemented so that you could always maintain awareness of your entitlements, your utilization, and then mission control to help you be able to see in API requests and help troubleshoot and optimize and keep your content stack implementation moving forward very smoothly. So we've combined product analytics and mission control into one concept. We've made sure that we brought the parity over from those two applications when we merged them into one. We've upgraded our charting library, so we have a lot more power in terms of what we can show you visually and how we can help you slice and dice data. And then we've also started to implement some additional metrics, deeper insights into, for example, your branches, where previously that wasn't possible. And we are laying the foundation. We have laid the foundation here for some new and very exciting additional analytics features and insights that we'll be continuing to add throughout the rest of this year and beyond. So this is by no means the end of our journey here with analytics. It really is very much just the beginning. And so just before we even get too much further here in this presentation, you are always welcome to reach out to Contentstack. Let us know what you think. Give us your feedback and ideas for how we can make this product and really any of our products better for you. Last thing I'll add on this, and Austin, if you want to go to the next slide. So we've also got, I'm going to start at the bottom here, an analytics API as well. So any of the data that you're seeing represented here on the screen, you can actually get to programmatically. I'm going to show you a demo that includes that here in just a moment, which I think you'll find pretty interesting. But then again, we've also added some additional functionality here. So filters and saved views, for example, you can filter much easier in the interface than previously, but also you can save those features, so you can, or excuse me, save those filters so you can come back to them. We also have deep links as well, so you can copy a link directly to a chart, share it with a colleague as desired, and then just kind of last note on this is that as I said before, you can only access this if you're an org admin or an org owner. We are also working on a new feature and functionality for the Contentstack platform that's going to make it so that any user that you want to, or any team or user group you want to, can have access to this tool as desired. So in our current state, it's limited to admins and owners. In a very near future state, this year, you'll be able to also grant access to content managers and developers and anybody else that you think should have access to this powerful tool. Go
Thanks,
to
Dan.
use case. There you go. Yep.
Yeah, so let's take a moment to learn about a couple ways to make this all actionable. So first one is around monitoring platform usage. So for business users on the left here, could be our content editors, content managers, giving that visibility into how their teams are utilizing content stacks based on contractual entitlements. So this would help in smarter resource allocation, so specifically around preventing limits or overages, identifying opportunities for training. So this could be if a certain user in your org is struggling to take certain actions in the product, this would be probably a good way to identify if they need additional enablement or assistance. And then the third bullet here, optimizing content operations. So understanding if there are any operational bottlenecks, whether that's duplicative effort or even ways to identify or amplify best practices to ensure that scalability is there when it comes to creating content types, your content modeling, things like that. And then on the right hand side here for technical users, so analytics would really help with understanding the subscription usage, stack specific metrics, bandwidth, API requests, top URLs, things like that. And this kind of data is updated every 24 hours. And like Dean was talking about earlier with the filters, this can also be applied here for further analysis as well. So that's the first main use case. And then the second one here, Dean also touched on a little bit too with the analytics API. So you're actually able to integrate that with existing BI tools for custom reporting. So for business users, that would really allow content stack data to be integrated with your existing BI tools. So these could be Tableau or Power BI, allow you to really create that connective tissue to other areas of the business and track any metrics that you might care about to really inform data-driven decision making. And then for the technical users here, this would allow you to retrieve data based on device usage, top URLs, and status codes. So really granular data around kind of user behavior. And what essentially this does is help create custom dashboards and reports And this custom reporting could even address other contexts and additional audiences or stakeholders at your organization that might not be directly in the day to day of Contentstack. So this is a great way to give them that visibility as well. All right, back to you, Dean, for some of the looking ahead piece in the roadmap.
Yeah, so if you want to go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, this is really a foundational step for Contentstack, and there's a lot under the hood that we've been working on to bring this new application to you. But really, it is the beginning of our journey here, and most certainly not the end. So what we're happy to report about, one of the features I'm most excited about is our Traffic Explorer that is being worked on this quarter and will hopefully be available starting to roll out this quarter. But the idea here is to give you granular insights into literally every request that's going across Contentstack. So for example, if you're trying to track down, pesky 429 errors or something like that, you can go to the actual endpoint itself and look at that payload and further diagnose the issue, such as the source, whether it's on the front end or back end or something like that that's causing it. It's going to be a very powerful tool and give you complete visibility into everything that's happening under the hood in your Contentstack org. We also kind of toggling out of the complex into something that's a little bit more graspable for the majority of Contentstack users is content lifecycle insights. So right now, in the bringing parity from our previous product analytics and mission control into this new application, we've really focused on sort of what I would call the perfunctory, the absolute necessary metrics that you need to be successful with Contentstack. There's a lot more of a green field here than we can provide. So today, you'll go in there and you'll see analytics around the content management APIs, the content delivery APIs, your number of assets and entries, those sorts of things, which I would call absolutely fundamentally necessary to understand what's happening in Contentstack. But then there's a lot more information and insights than we could be sharing with you, such as workflow stages and how long content takes to move between workflow stages and where bottlenecks might be happening in the content production lifecycle that I think are going to help you and your Contentstack users and content creators especially be much more powerful with Contentstack in general, both producing faster content and better content. When you start to roll these things around with automation and the AI capabilities of Contentstack, analytics could very well become a main place that you spend your time watching things move through the Contentstack application into production on the front end, rather than doing a lot of that manual content creation and distribution on your own. So we are really heading in a very exciting direction here. And I can't be more excited to be part of the Contentstack team during this journey, but also I'm very excited to see the power that this unlocks for our customers. And then, lastly, this isn't the end of this journey. As I've said, we have several more screens to add to this analytics app. So we're going to be providing more insights around Marketplace and Developer Hub as well. We've also got our new Lytics application that's been added to the Contentstack family. So certainly we'll be seeing that in there. User adoption for internally understanding how other users are adopting Contentstack applications and functionality. And of course, it wouldn't be a webinar in 2025 if I didn't say that we would be adding AI capabilities to this at some point in time for sure. So we will expect to see everybody's favorite new coworker AI in there as well. So that's our roadmap over the next few months at least. And then just stay tuned. Reach out to your CSMs if you are already a Contentstack customer. I think most everybody on this call is. And we're also very open to having a conversation if you have ideas or feedback that you want to give us after you've already kicked the tires on this application. So I think, Austin, that's our presentation. And now we can get to the fun parts. All right, so I'm
Yep.
going to share my screen now, everyone. And let's all just take a moment to put good vibes out there for live demos. Everybody loves a good live demo of technology, so here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Austin. Yeah, I can't see what's going on in our presentation platform, so I'm flying a little blind here, but this here is the analytics application. You'll find it with this little cute chart icon here. Again, if you're not an org admin or an org owner, you won't see this, but stay tuned. That is a very serious commitment we have to make sure that we're providing more access to these powerful tools. So just stay with us on that. But you'll see right out of the gate sort of these high-level analytics or high-level metrics and spark lines so that you can see just really quickly like what's the overall health of my Contentstack implementation vis-a-vis my purchase subscription and entitlements. Again, I consider this table stakes because we need obviously to be able to understand how we're utilizing the platform based upon any constraints that we have. But you'll see here numbers get red whenever they go over limits. You can see trend lines as well and the increases and decreases over the last period. We've also added this new branch level view into Stacks. So I have a Compass Starter installed here. And when I click here on this Compass Starter, it opens up this view here that lets me see the branches themselves and how my utilization persists across branches, which previously this rolled up into the main branch itself. It rolled up into the stack itself, excuse me. So what you would see was this number 18, this number 846, this number 12, but previously you couldn't see the distribution beneath those numbers if you were using branches. And that was a real pain point that people have expressed for some time since branches was released on the scene. And so now we've closed that gap to help you have more insights regardless of how many branches that you're using. This will help you clean up old branches and just make sure everything is running smoothly and efficiently on your side. I'm not going to go into every single panel on this, but just kind of call out as you're out there exploring. We've got these really cool new charts that are implemented, which give us a lot more power. Feel free to click around on them because they do offer some neat little features to help you kind of zoom in and get an idea of things right here in the screen itself, toggling between different views like so, selecting date ranges and all of that kind of stuff. We also have exports, and one of the coolest parts here, this ability to do filtering as you like. So if I want to filter on this, I apply a filter, and then that data is now filtered, and I can then save that view if I want to as well, such as here, giving it a name, and then it saves for me, and I can reset my filter there. Going down the page, bandwidth, APIs, assets, entries. Again, very similar to what I was describing earlier in terms of moving over from product analytics to and mission control over to the new analytics app. But hopefully you do find this more of a compelling interface. It's definitely a more powerful interface in terms of the views that you can get. But again, you'll see mostly parity from the previous app at this time, while we continue adding panels down here along the left side. And before I click into automate and beyond, this top URLs widget or component here is what is effectively going to be replaced by the Traffic Explorer. So right now you get this kind of whole number and the URL itself. You can see that 57 requests have been made to this specific URL, which is in itself valuable. But what may also be valuable is the payloads, the HTTP response codes, and even perhaps latency of each of these 57 requests. And that's what I mean by giving you that extra layer of granularity. So look to see this top URLs be moved into the Traffic Explorer whenever that feature appears down here underneath these existing screens. Automate as well, you'll see a similar pattern across all apps. Really what we want you to be able to do is understand what is happening under the hood of Contentstack, of your favorite products while you're out there using them. Launch as well. Probably the most interesting space for innovation. I'm also the product manager of hosting, so I'm a little bit selfish about this particular part of analytics, but given that we have a really fantastic front-end hosting solution on Contentstack called Launch. If you're not using it yet, feel free to reach out to your CSM or ask to speak with me directly, and we'll be glad to tell you about why it's great. But this is a really verdant field for us, in my opinion, to provide more and more insights into optimizing your front-end application that's powering your website. To be clear, we're not looking to rebuild Google Analytics or anything like that in here, but we do want to make sure that you have all the necessary tools and then some to have the most optimized front-end website experience. And then personalize as well. If you're using personalize, you'll also see activity from personalize and brand kit too. I actually don't have any brand kits set up, but of course, if you did, you would see those there. So over the next quarter and beyond, you're going to be seeing more and more screens being added here, as well as access being federated out to more users and roles within your organization. So that's a very exciting thing to look forward to. Switching gears ever so slightly, let's dive into one of my very, very favorite parts of the new analytics application, which is our analytics API. And some of you may have actually seen this article when it came out on our blog, but I imagine many people did not. But this, what I have here is so again, the app itself, everything that you're seeing here is also available via the API. That means that you can basically you could reach out to that API to get that data, and then you could process that data however you want to. You could use a Google Apps script, for example, to write data into a spreadsheet. You could integrate with a BI tool, as Austin was mentioning as well. Really, because Contentstack is built upon the mock principles, which means we're essentially API first. Everything you can do, for the most part, in the analytics app, you can also do via API. I am not going to read to you and walk through every single part of this with you, but I do encourage you, if you want to get familiar with our API, analytics API, this is a really great way to do it. What this is effectively is a step-by-step demo that I'm about to show you that you can implement on your own, including with code snippets that you can use directly in the code block of Automate, as well as a walkthrough of exactly how this should appear to be able to replicate this demo. But what you're seeing here effectively is a process that it hits the API, it gets last month's data and this month's data, and then it sends both of those data payloads in pure JSON to the ChatGPT AI and asks for a summary, an executive summary of utilization from last month to this month, and then to Slack me that AI derived summary every day. I also have it going to an email. It's a really fun proof of concept, and it's a very, very basic proof of concept too, that only really looks at high level trends from one month to the next. But you could actually get extremely granular in this, particularly when we expose the Traffic Explorer via the API. There is a world where you could quite easily create an automation that looks for issues out there in the wild, perhaps through your logged API requests, and sends you a notification whenever there is something that could be suspiciously, problematic. So this is what that automation looks like in Automate. If you are new to Automate, despite my role, I will tell you it is one of my favorite products that we have at Contentstack, and I use it a lot. I automate a lot of my workflows, and we do some really, really powerful stuff with it. I can't click into each of these for you to show you because it will expose my auth token and API keys, which would be a no-no on a live demo. But I did want to show you kind of the stepwise flow. One thing to call out is that the API is a two-step API. First, you need to send the request over to generate the data that you want to return. The second step of the API is to actually go retrieve that data. And this is because we wanted to make sure that the API itself was scalable whenever you're working with very large amounts of data. Contentstack is really focused on that enterprise use case, which is tremendous amount of data and activity, particularly when we're talking about granular requests to APIs, web traffic, URL traffic, that sort of thing. So in order to make this useful to our end users, we really have to stage this in two steps so that you send over that query. You might be asking for like 90 days, or we will be working to increase our history retention and also decreasing our latency. We want you to be able to get as recent data as possible, but also long historic trends as well, so you can compare not only month over month, but year over year. How are you doing in this first quarter versus last year's first quarter, and comparing those. We think those long-term trends are very important. So you would send that request over in step one, and then you would send, after waiting, you would send that request over in step two. And we also anticipate implementing a hook here as well, so that that second step would actively reach out back to you to a webhook that you prescribe to tell you, hey, your data is ready, now you can go retrieve it. Right now, you would have to wait and poll that second endpoint. Sorry if you're non-technical on the call. The technical folks on the call will get what I'm saying. You might have to poll that second endpoint until your data package is ready. But there are ways to do that. That's a fairly common pattern out there, but I would really like to see this have a webhook implemented as well, just to make it more efficient. So what this particular automation does, I think I've walked through it. First, we get the current month's data, and then I generate, the current month's data, and then I wait here for 3 seconds, that's all. And then I get the data from the current month. I then generate the previous month's data. All I'm doing is sending over, by the way, in the generate calls, I'm just sending over a call to that API, the analytics API, that's specifying a date range and the specific data that I'm looking for. Let me actually just kind of drop in here to our documentation. But these are all the different API reference points. So when I say that I'm hitting just one URL and specifying a start and end date, this is exactly what I'm doing here. And this is what the payload looks like. It says, here's your job ID, and it's running right now, and you didn't want to paginate it, that's okay. The second step of the API then is to actually retrieve the data, which I believe we have on here as well. Sometimes I have problems navigating this page. The retrieve data is the second call, and when you run the second call, you send that job ID over, and this is what the payload. This is what the payload looks like itself. I think my page is getting a little broken here. There we go. This is what the data payload looks like. Sorry, y'all, I think the screen share might be messing with things a little bit. So bouncing back over here, that we have a generate the data call, a get the data call, and then I do the same thing for the previous month, and then I send both of those payloads through ChatGPT. and generate some JavaScript code and then send that to me. And you'll see at the top here, there's a request trigger that is kicking off this particular automation. I could also set this on a schedule to run, say, the first day of every month, or every single day, or every hour, or every minute if I really wanted it to. But for testing purposes, we're using just the HTTP trigger so that I can just come here and hit this and come over here to my email. And you can see I've been doing some testing this morning just to make sure I had to exchange some auth tokens this morning to make sure that this was working. And any moment now, yep, we get our little notification for the email. And then there we go. And this is just really all I'm doing is sending raw JSON over with a prompt to write me an executive report. And what we have here is obviously this, by the way, I should say, I asked ChatGPT to do this for Slack. So it's using Slack icons. Some of them work in Gmail, some of them don't. But you can see here, it's got my monthly usage summary from this date to this date. And it's even kind of saying, suggesting a higher interaction via APIs. That actually ChatGPT is looking at the data, looking at the actual nomenclature of the fields and taking into account the context, and then it is summarizing what it thinks I should be interested in as an executive. So this entire show and tell is replicable through looking at this documentation, including code samples. And if you want to really razzle dazzle your coworkers, I would encourage you to build that automation and give it a try. On that, Austin, I'm going to pause and just look through the chat real quick for any questions I might need to capture, and then feel free to call anything out if you've been watching it. But that's the demo I wanted to share. I hope that was useful to everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Dean. We do have a couple questions in the chat. So yeah, we'll just take a few moments to go through those. John was wondering if we need to enable analytics and mission control.
You should not, John, but if you are not seeing it, you can reach out to support and we'll get that enabled for you. John asked a great question as well right at the top of the chat. If you're not looking at the chat window, this is included for all customers. And it is, yep, it is included for all customers as well as the API. Look, we want you to be wildly successful with Contentstack, and we think that analytics and access to data and understanding what's happening under the hood is a key to that success. And so we built this tool for you, and we're going to keep improving it for you.
Another
Back
one from Shay.
Is analytics only for tracking backend site stats, or does this exist for things like site traffic as well? Really both. The idea is both. And in launch, you will see URL requests, and you'll see user agents and cache statuses and interesting insights like that. But we don't, as yet, really have like a page level view for launch inside analytics, like something like Google Analytics or a similar competitor out there on the market. And candidly, we aren't trying to rebuild Google Analytics. We think it does a lot of things really well. It is clearly the market leader in this space at this time. But we are going to be providing a lot of insights in analytics there. We do have some ideation and UX in the works on that, and it is compelling from what I've seen so far. And just kind of a footnote on that, if this is something Shay and anyone else on the call is interested in, we always are happy to do roadmap sessions with our customers, especially those under NDA. We can get really transparent with where our direction is and get your feedback early on. It does take us a minute. These are big problems that we're solving, so we can't always solve problems overnight. But we love to hear from our customers, and we love to share about where we're going and make sure that we're building exactly what you want to see in our platform. Great question, by the way.
Another question from John here.
does this work when our content is served up from AWS? John, I think I'm going to need a little bit more context on that particular question. If you want to maybe share a little bit more about it in chat, or again, feel free to reach out if there's something that I can help clarify. If you're serving content, for example, directly through like an S3 bucket, and that content is going straight from AWS S3 to like a front end site, for example, and it's just that URL string of the asset that's in S3, you probably wouldn't see much of a footprint of that in analytics as it is today. But if you have, an automation, or you have a marketplace application, or something like that, that's consuming that asset from S3, or that content from S3, and it's moving through Contentstack, and it's being delivered as a URL or via one of Contentstack's APIs, then I would expect you to see that. But again, I'm kind of guessing a little bit at your specific use case there, but happy to unpack that more with you. I'm excited to explore the new Traffic Explorer feature. Will it allow filtering requests based on cache usage, like cache hits or misses? This will help us investigate why the misses percentage is unusually high. You nailed it, Cannon. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. But that is exactly our goal with Traffic Explorer. Yes, filtering. We want you to filter by the product, by the API. I would like for you to be able to filter by the request method itself. Is it get, is it post? And yes, I think we're about to get a question about latency. I see, that is also a question from you. Yes, latency is also 100% on our roadmap here. There, again, I can't stress this enough, the amount of activity and utilization data, especially at a granular API level, moving through Contentstack is non-trivial, to say the least. It is very big data. And so there's a bit of a crawl, walk, run here philosophy in making sure that we're continuing to deliver value to you as frequently and as continuously as possible, instead of putting a bunch of improvements way out into the future and kind of dealing with pain in the meantime. So it might be the case where we get the Traffic Explorer in place, but then the latency metrics come later. So just be aware that there may be slight details that are not quite there the moment that this appears in production, but you did nail it. That is exactly where we are aiming to go with the Traffic Explorer. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's
all the questions.
everything. Sweet. Yeah. Well, if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out. Talk to your CSMs, reach out to us on LinkedIn, whatever works for you. But yeah, I really appreciate you all taking the time today to learn a little bit more about analytics. Like I said earlier, the recording will be shared with you in a follow-up email. But thank you all for joining today, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your day.